Here are the answers for Lesson 7-3, Day 2. Number 6, solve the equation for the variable c. This equation has fractions with denominators, but it's not a proportion. So the method that we've learned is to figure out the LCD. With a 10, 5, and 2, the LCD is 10. Multiply all terms by 10. Notice I've left space in front of each term in order to do this. 10 here, 10 here, and 10 here. Now reduce, also called cancel. 10 in the top, 10 in the bottom, reduces to 1. 1 times 3c makes 3c. In the middle, 10 in the top, 5 in the bottom, reduces to 2. This makes plus 2c. And at the end, 10 divided by 2 makes 5. 5 times 3 is 15. This equation has no fractions in it. 3c plus 2c is 5c. And so c is equal to 3. Number 8. The LCD of these numbers is the number 40. Multiply them all by 40. Now cancel. 40 divided by 8 makes 5. 5 times 7m is 35m. 40 divided by 5 makes 8. In front of the 8 is a negative sign. Negative 8 times 3m is negative 24m. 40 divided by 2 is 20. 20 times 11 is 220. 35 subtract 24 makes 11m. $220 divided by 11 is 20. Number 10, the LCD using 6 and 5 is the number 30. Multiply by 30 in front of each term. 30 divided by 6 makes 5. 5 times x is 5x. 30 divided by 5 makes a 6. That 6 is multiplied to this binomial. Don't forget the parentheses. And observe the negative sign in front of the 6. Think of it as negative 6 when you distribute. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. On the right side, 30. 5x subtract 6x is negative 1x. Add the 18 to the other side. X is negative 48. Number 12, the LCD of these three denominators is the number 15. Multiply by 15. Don't forget when you're multiplying to a binomial that you need parentheses to do the distributive property. Multiply by 15 here. And multiply by 15 over here. 15 divided by 15 just makes 1, and so we just have the binomial x plus 2. 15 divided by 5 makes a 3. In front of that 3 is the negative sign, and that 3 needs to be distributed to both terms. That's negative 3x plus 9. 15 divided by 3 makes 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Combining like terms makes negative 2x plus 11 is equal to 10. Subtract 11 from both sides, you'll get negative 1. And then divide by negative 2 on both sides, creating 1/2. Number 14, the LCD with the denominators 2, 4, and 6 is the number 12. Multiply all terms by 12. 12 times x is 12x. 12 divided by 2 makes a 6. In front of the 6 is this negative sign. Negative 6 times 3x is negative 18x. 12 divided by 4 makes 3. 3 times 3x is 9x. 12 divided by 6 is a 2. Don't lose sight of the negative in front of that 2. This makes negative 10. 12x subtract 18x is negative 6x. Now subtract 9x from both sides, creating negative 15x is equal to negative 10. And divide by negative 15 on both sides, creating 10 over 15, which reduces to 2/3. Number 16. This equation has a fraction in it, and it's not a proportion, so you can't do cross multiplying. The LCD is the only denominator that there is, 7. Multiply all terms by 7. Seven times 0 is 0. 7 times 2x is 14x. 7 on top, 7 on the bottom, cancels away to 1, so we just have the binomial 2x minus 8. Add the 8 to the left side. Combine like terms. Now divide both sides by 16. We'll get 8 over 16, which reduces to a half. Now page 300 has some short word problems. The question says to find the number. We don't know what that number is. Let's represent it with the letter x. And then if we figure out the value of x, we will have discovered the unknown number. 1/8 of a number can be written as 1/8 x. The word is an equals. 10 less than something is when you subtract 10 from something. What are we subtracting 10 from? 1/3 of the number. Here's our equation. Notice that I anticipated that the type of equation would be what we're studying, and so I was careful to leave space in front of every term. The LCD, using 8 and 3 as denominators, is 24. Multiply all terms by 24. 24 over 8 is 3. This makes 3x. 24 over 3 makes 8. This makes 8x. And 24 times 10 is 240. Subtract 8x from both sides, making negative 5x is equal to negative 240. And now divide by negative 5. The result is 48. We figured out that x is 48, and x was representing the number we were asked to figure out, so our answer is 48. Number 4. Three numbers are in the ratio 3 to 5 to 6. 1/4 of their sum is 1.5 more than the smallest number. Find the numbers. We're asked to find three numbers. We don't know what any of them are, but we are given their ratio. And so we can represent the three numbers with 3x, 5x, and 6x. Later, if we discover a value for x, we can substitute that in to find out our three unknown numbers. Now let's translate the sentence. 1/4 of their sum. That can be written as 1/4, and then in parentheses, sum together the three unknown numbers, which are represented with 3x, 5x, and 6x. Now it has the word is. That's an equals. Now it says 1.5 more than the smallest number. 1.5 more than is when you add 1.5 to the smallest number. The smallest number is 3x. And we're going to add 1.5 to that. Now we want to solve this equation. I noticed that inside the parentheses, these are all like terms. I think it would be helpful to combine these together and write this as 1/4 times 14x. And that's equal to 3x plus 1.5. Now, 1.5 written as a fraction is 3/2. I like that a little bit better than having the mixed number. Next, I notice that I even can multiply this to this and make it a little simpler looking. 1/4 times 14 is the same thing as 14 over 4. 14 over 4 reduces to 7 over 2. Now, I have an equation that has fractions, and it's time to use our technique with the LCD. Multiply all terms by 2. Here, here, and the last one. 2 over 2 cancels out, leaving 7x. 2 times 3 is 6x. And in the last position, 2 over 2 cancels out, leaving a positive 3. Subtract 6x from both sides, getting 1x is equal to 3. Now we know the value of x, so it's time to go back and find our unknown numbers. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. And 6 times 3 is 18. Number 6, the length of a rectangular garden is 3/2 of its width. It takes 50 meters of edging to create a border. Find the dimensions of the garden. When we studied word problems earlier this year that involved geometry shapes, we said that one strategy to help you visualize what's going on is to sketch a picture. Here is a rectangle. We do not know what the width is. You could call it W. We are told that the length is 3/2 of its width. So on the long edge, you can write 3/2 W. This problem talks about going around the outside with a border. In geometry, the measurement around the outside of a shape is called perimeter. Perimeter of a rectangle is found by adding together all 4 sides. So W plus W plus 3/2 W plus 3/2 W. That sum is the distance around the outside, and we're told that that is equal to 50. Now let's do some simplification work on the left side. W plus W is 2W. 3/2 plus 3/2 is 6/2. 6/2 is the same as 3. This makes 5W equals 50. Therefore, W is 10. We have the answer for the width. Now let's get the length. The length is found by doing 3/2 times W. And we know that W is 10. So what's 3/2 times 10? 3 times 10 is 30/2, which is 15. The garden is 15 meters long by 10 meters wide. Now number 8. Terry spent 3/8 of her monthly salary on rent and 1/3 of her monthly salary on food. She has $294 left at the end of the month. Question: what is her monthly salary? We don't know what this value is. It's unknown to us. Let's choose a variable to represent it, such as x. Now it says Terry spent 3/8 of her salary on rent. So she has spent 3/8 of x. The word and implies that she's also going to add on some more money that she spends. And it says 1/3 of her salary. So 1/3 x. Now, what does it mean that she has $294 left? She spent this. She spent this. And she has $294 remaining. So if we add $294, that is her starting monthly salary. Think about that equation one more time. The amount she spent on rent, plus the amount she spent on food, plus the amount she has left at the end of the month, has to be equal to what she started with at the beginning of the month. This equation fits the style that we've been learning about solving by multiplying everything by the LCD. There are two denominators. There's an 8 and a 3. The LCD is 24. Multiply all terms by 24. (24) divided by 8 is 3. 3 times 3x is 9x. 24 divided by 3 is 8. This makes plus 8x. Now take a calculator and go 24 times 294, 7,056. And on the right side, 24x. We can combine like terms on the left, 17x. Now subtract 17x from both sides. That makes 7x. Now divide by 7 on both sides. We get 1,008 for the value of x. The question asks, what was her monthly salary? We represented that with x, and now we know an answer for x. So her monthly salary is, in money, $1,008.